Welcome to the Box Score Sports Podcast.
Let's go to the NFC. Let's do our NFC quarter poll. Okay, NFC, who's your favorite out of the NFC? So this one might be more interesting. Who do you got?
I still think it has to be the Eagles. They don't look as strong, but the Rams pushed them, and then they kind of came out of their shell and looked like the Eagles. They were up big on the Buccaneers. We kind of talked about that last week. The Buccaneers had a lot of injuries, and then Tampa did their holy cow, they're coming back in this game. I think some of that was, I guess it was like 112 degrees on the field, and Tampa's smart. They make them sit in the sun. So whether that has an effect or not, whatever. But I just think until someone really dethrones the Eagles, they haven't shown anything where you'd be like, wow, they've really fallen off.
Okay, so that's where my hot take comes in. So against the Bucks, the second half they had 23 total yards, I
Yeah.
think, and no passing yards and whatever. I think the Rams are my favorite right now. And I know the Eagles beat the Rams, but they needed to block 2 field goals to do that. And that is an outlier. That doesn't happen in the NFL. So to me personally, right now, my unhomer pick, because obviously I'm a Lions backer, so maybe people thought, oh, he's going to go Lions here. No, I'm going to go Rams because I think they should have won that game. They seem more consistent. Their pass rush is really good. Stafford's fine, so as long as he stays healthy, I think that's fine. So my favorite right now on the NFC side, I know it's like, well, we got to watch the Eagles be dethroned, but if I had to pick a game between those two in January, I think like it would be whoever had home field, but I think I'd pick the Rams if it's on a neutral site. That's where I'm kind of at right now.
Yeah. And the Rams are probably the close second. You're right. It took a block field goal. That was in Philly too.
Wasn't it two though?
I,
Didn't they block 2 field goals?
they could have.
Okay.
I just think I'll just default with the Eagles until I see it.
hmm
And the Rams are probably the closest. They had the ball at the end in the NFC Championship game too. That was a championship game, right? Or the divisional round. Right? They were the
Division.
closest.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were the closest driving with the ball with a chance to take the lead. So they're probably next on the docket right now. But I'll play it safe.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Okay, let's go. What prediction you were right about in the NFC?
I had the Lions still winning the division. I feel much better about that now.
Hmm.
Again, as we talk about being a quarter of the way through, especially with the Packers having a tie now. The Lions will have to be a win below them. But they look really good. They've totally reverted back to the Lions that we're used to, probably a little smarter version of it. And I think the defense, we mentioned last week, Hutchinson was up to like 95% of the snaps this week. He's looking good. I just saw, McNeil, his practice window is open coming off of injured reserve. So I think that will get better as the season goes on. And, my only worry with the Lions is I think they're a team that, of all the teams, needs home field as far as the Super Bowl run. But as far as winning the division, a prediction I had, I feel really good about the Lions right now.
Yeah. What the one concern is Bo Reed went down with an injury and Arnold this past week, so their secondary has gotten a little weak. But it does seem like they will be back at some point, and neither one of them was like season ending, so that's good. But yeah, I think that's a good one. Week one proves to be like don't overreact to week one. I don't know what's going on with the Packers. Their bye week couldn't come quicker, I think, like at this point. I know like DJ and I were talking a couple weeks ago and he's like, "Well, we got an early bye. We got a week 5 bye, so it's a bad schedule." It's like, "Well, actually it might be a good thing you got a week 5 bye now because like it looks like you got to figure some stuff out," which I did not predict. But the defense actually looks good. Like I like the way the defense looking under Shepard. And like you said, they're going to get healthier on the defensive line. So I think you might be safe with that right now. And if the Lions beat the Cowboys, when they play the Cowboys, that's 2 games that the Packers dropped that the Lions won. So they beat the Browns this past week when the Packers dropped it. So I like that one. Um, I'm gonna say, man, I could go a couple. Here's I'm gonna say NFC West. I have 3 teams coming into the playoffs from the NFC West. They're all 3-1. The 3 teams that I had. Obviously, with the Niners, I'm a little concerned because would they stop getting injured, please? That'd be nice. But I still think that division, they're going to be basically like 3 10-win teams in there. Maybe the Rams can get to 11 or whatever. But I had 3 10-win teams. The Rams winning the division based on tiebreakers. And I just think that's what we're going to see the rest of the season and through a quarter way. As long as no more crazy injuries happen to the Niners, I think that's what we're going to see throughout the rest of the year. So I'm pretty confident right now after a quarter way that NFC West is going to be tight between those 3 teams. And I think I was right about the Cardinals that I'm not really worried about them. So I'm feeling good about the NFC West.
Yeah, I think we, to this point, nailed that perfectly. Like those 3 teams may be interchangeable. Obviously, if people can stop falling down and getting hurt or catching the
Right.
ball for the 49ers,
Yeah.
I think we're going to end up with all 3 of those teams really close. And that's good. I think I defaulted to the Rams when we made division picks, and it's just, again, if Stafford's healthy like we've seen, they have a lot there that's hard to stop, or they go from looking terrible to then they just click it on and then they look unstoppable for 3 or 4 drives.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I think yeah, we both had 3 of them in there. Yeah. So and you had the Rams winning, I had the Rams winning. So yeah, I mean, I think we got that right. Okay, let's where were you wrong? Let's see.
But right now, I'm going to go with the Vikings. I know they're 2-2, and they've kind of logged their way to a couple wins. JJ McCarthy looked far worse than I thought. Like I had not a high baseline for him because I don't think it takes a high baseline for him to be successful with that system. We saw Carson Wentz had a good game, and you win a game, and then he doesn't look good, and they were getting run out of the building before they made their comeback against the Steelers. I really thought that they were going to have a chance to like challenge the Packers or the Lions, at least maybe not to win the division, but like this is a tough team. Defensively, they still have it, but with Wentz, you're going nowhere with Carson Wentz, especially with the offensive line injuries they had. I mean, it's just a sack fest. And if JJ McCarthy doesn't look remotely better from what we saw, I think it's lights out.
Yeah, that's a tough one. Yeah, that's a good one. That was the thing with the Vikings. It was all going to be based on how the quarterback played. I think the defense in spurts looks really good, and then I think in spurts it's like, what are we doing here? So, like allowing DK Metcalf to have like an 80-yard touchdown, like what are we doing here? But yeah, so I think the Vikings has always been dependent on the quarterback, and what you needed was an average quarterback, and it doesn't seem like McCarthy, at least from the sample size we have so far, is he's going to hit that threshold. I put Eagles. I didn't have one because I kind of nailed a lot of this. The NFC, I have to say, the AFC I was kind of all over the place a little bit, like, but the NFC I kind of nailed. So I put Eagles. I said that they'd have like a slow start. And even though their start is kind of slow, they're still 4-0. I thought like we would see them like 2-2, something like that, where you would have a little panic because there's so much turnover on their roster. And whether it's through blocked field goals or whatever the case may be, they have found a way to win these games. So even though I feel like they still started slow. They got 4 wins starting slow. So man, they're gonna if they can get it going, man, that could be a rocket ship going into the playoffs. So I'm gonna say I was wrong about them as far as record wise starting slow.
Yeah, and I think the Eagles are a safe bet. My sell on the Eagles, as you mentioned, is I think they are riding a dangerous line with how they're winning and like play your happiness. Like AJ Brown, I think is just absolutely going nuts. And I
Yeah,
think it's one of those things that you can kind of keep in check.
yeah,
But if you start losing a game, like they play the Broncos, if it's ugly against the Broncos, if it's ugly against the Giants because of the pat, like if it starts tampering down and you get a couple losses, then I think with some of the personalities on there, you might have a uh-oh
Yeah,
for the
sure. That's
Eagles.
true. Yep, that's
That
true.
would be my sell case on the Eagles. But until we get to that point, it's just like, I think I said it last week. They feel like an NBA team just coasting through a season. Like,
Yep.
whatever, we'll do what we have to win. If you push us, we'll break out all the moves. Until then, we'll do the ugly stuff to win.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah, it could go, and I think like, man, if I'm the Eagles and AJ Brown becomes more of a problem, I don't know why they don't just trade him. Like at some point, you're just not worth the headache. We're not a heavy passing team anyway. We got Smith. Why do we need you? Like kind of thing. But we'll see what happens there. My selling. Again, not a lot of stuff that I got wrong. I don't think a lot of things are too crazy. So I just put, because Giant fans hate me anyway, I just said the Giants hype after this last week. I don't know. Everybody's going crazy. Jackson Dart threw for like 106 yards. Can we settle down? Like, so the only thing I'm selling right now is just a little bit of hype that the Giants got for starting Jackson Dart and winning a game by 3 points. Uh, where your quarterback threw 106 yards, the guy that you're all hyped about. So that's the only thing I was sort of selling. To be fair, Giants fans, it's not that big of a deal. I'm not like, it's just the only thing I could think of, honestly, that I was selling.
Yeah, and I think that the hype might get even at that if they beat the Saints this week.
Oh yeah,
but then they get into that stretch of Eagles, Broncos, Eagles, which could be their either coming out party or wake up call. But I think you're right. Just before the season, there was a lot of like, watch out for the Giants. Everyone's kind of happy around the team, and you're like, well, maybe they're happy now because it's Jackson Dart, and at least there's excitement, and he looks fiery and like a competitor. So it's much different than Russell Wilson.
Right. I love his moxie. He has a really good moxie, but the problem that I have is like, let's not hype the dude up after throwing 106 yards. He kind of made the game happen through his legs, which is great, but you don't want to rely on that with a quarterback. You want to see it with his arm. So if he goes up against the Saints and he throws for 300 yards passing, okay, now I'm more intrigued about what this could be. But let's not, if he throws for like a Tim Tebow 115 yards with a QBR of 38, but they win the game, it's like, come on, let's settle down. That's all. What are you buying?
Did we just do buying or no? Did I do it wrong?
Oh yeah, no, wait. Yeah, we
No.
did selling. You sold the. What did you sell? You sold.
Okay, I did it back. So here, I'll just selling. I'll be fair. I'm gonna sell two teams, the Packers and the 49ers, for different
Okay,
reasons.
real quick, who did you buy then? I forgot.
The
The
oh, I had okay, I did skip buying. I'm buying the
okay,
Seahawks.
okay, you're buying the Seahawks. Okay,
Be it,
okay.
I really like they lost. Maybe it'll be
Oh,
difficult for them. They lost to the Niners week one, which is kind of
mhm.
that important division tiebreaker conference type thing.
Okay.
But defensively, they look awesome. Kind of we expected. Little nervous on coaching. It's a couple of games where they've done some dumb coaching things at the end, but I think the Seahawks are a little better than I thought. And as we brought out, it's like a 3-team race in that division. But I think I would buy some Seahawks as having maybe an upside pop a little higher than maybe we thought.
Yeah, I like that one. So the Vikings you brought up wrong. I can't remember who you sold.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
We
Okay.
didn't do the sell yet. You mentioned the Eagles, and I thought you said you were selling the Eagles. So I just went
Oh, I
with
sold the
here's the case
Giants,
I
right?
would.
Yeah. Okay, so you're buying the Seahawks. I think that's a good buy. Good defense. Sam Darnold looks passable, and maybe now we see why with Geno Smith the way he's playing in Oakland, Las Vegas. Maybe why they sold. I also like the run game. It looks a little bit better, and then the wide receiver as well. So let's just go to selling then. Who you selling?
So I had two that were tied, and so I'll do this to be fair because I don't want to sound like Homer. I'll sell the Niners a little bit for injury. I think if it were me, I would just rest everyone, just sacrifice Mac Jones to the Rams this week. Whatever
Yeah.
you're gonna play him again. It's more important to just be healthy than to go out there and be like, oh, well, we only lost by 10 to the Rams, like whatever. So I would sell that on the injuries of having the mini bye, and then hopefully Kittle is back. Brock Purdy has 10 days off. Ricky Pearsall is not bit great. But you're right. If the injuries keep happening, we're heading for, oh, cool, another ugly year. The other team, the Packers. I was joking, Sawyer, if you're listening, he was reading me PFF grades about how awesome Micah Parsons was in that game, and I was watching some Packer fans clip, and I was like, cool, you didn't really know Micah Parsons played until that last lucky sack at the end. The defense has really fallen apart, and it started with the Browns starting to figure out some of the run game, and the Cowboys were all over the zone that they were talking about in weeks 1 and 2, where they were playing that shell zone and chasing. They tore that apart. They can make adjustments. So this is another team where my hand is peeking through the grave, where I said the Packers won't make the playoffs. A little bit of joy has come back, but the coaching is bad. And it was fun watching everyone hating on Matt LaFleur, the way they ran the end of that game. They showed some cracks in there. Offensively, you can't complain, but it was the Cowboys. But defensively, I think they have to figure something out, because I think teams have an idea of the zone they're running, and now they got to adjust it.
Yeah, so it could be part of the reason why it threw the Lions off in the first week too, like if they changed their scheme. So with the Niners, I think they'll be okay, like getting to the playoffs. I'm not too concerned right now, so I have and I kind of figured I'm not. Okay, I'm gonna be the devil's advocate with the Packers here. Okay, I know that's not a good spot to be in, like with you. But Nate, this is for you, because Nate called you a hater, just so you know, Nate, who comes on the podcast. So, and you admit it, so it's not that big of a deal. I'm not concerned yet, because this is what I envisioned the Packers. Now, the defensive side's a little concerning. Like the 40 points against the Dallas Cowboys was concerning, right? That part was concerning. They did have a lot of offensive linemen, I think, injured this last week too, but it didn't stop their offense from doing really good. I would say I was at least impressed with their offense more so last week than I was the three previous weeks. So I do like that, because it seemed like they were like a scripted team. Like they would get their first couple drives that everybody scripts, and they'd score touchdowns, and then it's like second half they would kind of like fall apart. At least they kept up with the Cowboys. I want to give them a week, their bye week, to see if they can figure things out. I don't have any idea if that defense, if they'll change it up or whatever, if that's something they changed in the offseason. I gotta look more information up on that, and then I'd be like, why? You guys were like a top 10 defense. Why would you change up your scheme? But anyway, point being is, I want to wait. I wouldn't sell personally on the Packers. I think they still can get to the playoffs, because I'm also not impressed with anything from like Washington or the other playoff teams that could, like I'm not impressed with the Bears or the Vikings. I'm not impressed with the other potential playoff teams. So I'm gonna hold on the Packers. I'm not as dire as you are, but I could see where there was some positive you could take from the Dallas game. But I will say this. I agree with you about Matt LaFleur. The way he handled the end of that game, I didn't understand it. They were playing for the tie, it seemed like. They were more worried about killing time than they were scoring the touchdown. And they almost lost because of it. Like, just score the touchdown. Don't worry about what they can and cannot do. I think coaches are stupid. They get in their own heads about these things, and that's when they make mistakes. So, sort of my defense. And Dobbs has had a good year. That's my defense of the Packers. Anyway, that's where I'll end that, I guess.
No, you're not wrong. And like, I don't want to come across, well, I mean, I am a hater. I don't want to come across as like, oh my God, sell this team. They're not going to make the playoffs.
Right.
Just from my personal, I predicted them not to make the playoffs during that game, the last 2 games, that glimmer of hope that I had, like, here's some of the things I was talking about with being able to move the ball on them. And, the coaching and like the trust factor, those all come out at times where you're like, Jordan Love is his guy, but both of those drives at the end of the game, they got close, and then they threw like a bubble screen and like a quick dump off. And then on third down, they had to throw it. And it's like, like you said, I've never seen a coach more afraid of Brandon Aubrey having the ball and kicking an 80-yard field goal than I was watching the end of the game. Like, dude, just go score. Who cares?
Right.
If a dude makes a 75-yard field goal and sets a record, like, you got to tip your hat and be like, that's actually kind of awesome. But it's the coaching in those big moments that, stands out repeatedly. I mean, we talk about it with Kyle Shanahan. He's another one. Matt LaFleur's another guy. Like, I was telling my Packer friend, I'm like, what big game has Matt LaFleur won besides beating the Cowboys, which we all partake of every year in the playoffs? Like, he blew the Buccaneers game to go to the Super Bowl. 2 games against the Niners, they kind of shelled up when it got tough. So, those little cracks showed again.
The little glimmer of hope.
They could be perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Just, you're right, Nate, the hater in me, that hand peeked out of the grave, and I was like, oh, but they get the Bengals after the bye week, so they got a free win.
And I'm going to agree with you on this, though. Like, sometimes LaFleur coaches Jordan Love like McDaniels coaches Tua. And I know Tua is more limited than Jordan Love. But there's sort of a trust factor with McDaniels and Tua, like knowing what he can't do and what he can do and what he wants him to do and what, like, they did like a bubble screen, like you were talking about bubble screen. It was like a 3rd and 11, they do a bubble screen. It's like, okay, well, clearly McDaniels, you do not trust Tua making the right decision here. You get that vibe at times when it comes with LaFleur and Jordan Love. But okay, let's rapid fire these. We're almost to an hour, so I don't want to take a lot of your time. So let's rapid fire these last 3. One move. What's the one team you want to make a move to, like, put them a tier up or whatever?
That's good. I think the Commanders. No, not the Commanders made their move. That's tough in the NFC. What is yours? Because I am short on this one.
I have 2. The Bucks. I'd like to see the Bucks make a move. The Buccaneers. I think they're almost there, like, contender wise. I think they do need help in the back end a little bit. Maybe another pass rusher, but that's all they need, and they need to get healthy, obviously. But I think, like, if they could get help in the back end or maybe a pass rusher, and I'm gonna hit this hard. As a Lions backer, I haven't brought him up at all, but this is the one I'm like, they get another edge rusher, okay? There was 2 times where, like, Aiden Hutchinson was on the ground for a period of time where I'm just like, oh, great, there goes our pass rush. And that game where we got 7 sacks against the Ravens, a lot of those were coverage sacks, okay? Let's not, like, Hutchinson got through a couple times on his own, but if it's not him, nobody else gets to the quarterback in less than 3 seconds. Get another edge rusher. Thibodeau is supposed to be, I guess, not Thibodeau. Oh my God, that's a coach. Who's the Giants and their Thibodeau. Him and Hendricks are both still kind of available. Go after one of those guys. Your Super Bowl window isn't super big. If they got another edge rusher, I'd be like, they're the best team in the NFC. That's what I think they need. So those are the 2 teams I mentioned.
Yeah, I finally scrolled over to where I had it written down. I had for the Niners, Buccaneers, and Lions, Trey Hendrickson.
Yes,
because I think he's probably the easiest one. I mean, you got to eat some money this year, but the Bengals aren't obviously going to pay him. He's done the last year. And I don't think it'll take a ton because they're going to lose him for nothing. So if you could throw a third, and then even if you're not going to keep him, you're going to get a 3rd or 4th round comp pick when he leaves. So you're just pushing off a 3rd round pick. The 49ers did that with Chase Young. That didn't turn out a couple of years ago, but you traded a 3rd and you got a 3rd round comp pick when he went to the Saints. So that's probably for each of those teams. If you need a little pressure, I don't think the Bengals, they're 2-2 now. It's going to be ugly fast. And, if they just want to get something immediate, get them out.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, real quick, player you're most impressed by in the NFC?
I'm going to go with Matthew Stafford. That dude is just him and Puka.
Puka, yeah.
That combination is just unreal.
Yeah.
And, I know Matthew Stafford sometimes gets overlooked because we have the Patrick Mahomes highlights all the time that we have to watch, but he is just unbelievable with his presence, the way he delivers the ball. It's sad to say, like, he got stuck in Detroit
It's true though.
And he kind of got overlooked being in Detroit, and they weren't that good. But that dude is one of those old dudes that's just carrying the water for us old guys. Like, look at that guy sling it.
Well, I always made the case like he's a top 5 quarterback. It's just that he was stuck in Detroit. The Niners and the Rams had an opportunity to get him, and I'm like, man, he'd be good on either team. I thought it was a loss when the Niners didn't get him, but it's because of this. And I think we could finally, can we put to bed the offseason concerns until we see it? Because like last year it was his elbow. This year it was, I don't remember what it was this year, but it's like, I get it if it happens, but let's wait till it happens before we jump on it, because like a lot of people fell off the Rams bandwagon this year because they're like, oh, we don't know if Stafford's going to be 100%. It's like, let's wait to see it, because he looks phenomenal right now.
That's for sure.
Speaking, I have Bucky Irving. I've been really impressed with him. I mean, I was impressed with him last year. This year, he looks more decisive and explosive. Now, of course, I wrote him down, and he's on the injury report with a walking boot, so that's great. But I do want to say that I think like he might be slept on as one of like the better running backs in the league. You don't hear his name brought up as much, but I think young running backs, he should be on top of the list, and maybe even a top 10 running back in the league. I didn't do like the research, but I could see it,
Yeah, it was funny. You said Bucky Irving, and I was laughing. I was like, same thing. He's on crutches in a walking.
Yes, yeah. Not great. Okay, disappointment in the NFC.
I mean, I had this teed up for some more Marvin Harrison Jr. love, but he caught that touchdown, so I'll back off. I'm going to go with it. It's a low bar, and maybe I bought into it too much, was Bryce Young. I just thought what he did last year, he would look decent, and you'd be like, oh, I kind of thought maybe the Carolina would be that feisty 6-7 win team. Like, oh, when you see the still in the hunt on the right side of the screen, we get to like, oh, the Panthers are only 2 games out with 5 to go. What's going on? But they look bad. I mean, that might be one of that Falcons game, like the outlier of the season, winning 30-0. Who knows? They get the Dolphins, see what happens after that. But I've been really disappointed with it. It doesn't look good at all. I mean, again, he might put it together for these next 2 games, Cowboys, Dolphins, but I don't think we learn anything from playing those 2 defenses right now.
That's a fair point. Shots fired. Along with that, I actually put young QB play in the NFC. Caleb Williams up and down. You wish to see more. Now he did have a really good game against the Cowboys, and last week, who did they play last week? The Raiders, and he was fine against the Raiders. Like, okay, but the first 2 games they were very concerning, and then you had McCarthy, right? Like not looking good, and then Penix. Penix is also really up and down, and really up until this past week, he was not really that good. So it's funny because all the really good quarterbacks, if we rank the quarterbacks, you get a lot from the AFC, then you'd put Stafford, and then maybe a couple more from the AFC, and then get into the NFC quarterbacks. And when they got all this young talent at the quarterback position, you're like, oh, maybe the NFC is going to start to like take hold of that quarterback spot versus the AFC. And I feel like I'm very disappointed in the young QB play, especially out of those 4 guys. Like, we want to see good quarterback play, and those 4 guys really we want them to develop, I think. So can we get some development so we can have some good QB play? But those 4 quarterbacks, very disappointing for me so far.
Yeah, I would agree. That's a good one. They've shown some flashes, but few and far between.
Yeah, agreed. Okay, any other questions about the quarter poll you had, or do you just want to move on to your commentary?
We can just move on. I think it's a good reset.
Thanks so much for watching this clip of the Box Score Sports Podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you haven't yet, please subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Instagram and Twitter or X. And we'll talk to you guys real soon. See ya.